Hey all, I'm just doing a quick update. I've had a few weirdnesses this week, so I'm treating this as an experiment to just literally go without a script, without any rambling, because all of the ideas that I had would require my personal computer. So, why that's a problem is that I actually had a generator go out. So my current plan is to treat that as a backup, get it repaired when I get back to my home base, and then I already have put an order for an actual Honda generator, I think it's like a 2200 something fancy inverter generator. It's kind of the industry standard for the top end of smaller generators, which the 2200 stands for the max watts that it can put out, which is kind of what I think is the top end of my need. Right now, the current inputs for charging all of the device that I have take about 800 at full go, and my charge controller in my Taxa Cricket will only take like 150, 200 watts. And most of that is taken care of via the two solar panels that I've got. So power-wise, I just need a generator to get me past the hump of powering my personal stuff. And right now that's just not happening. So how that all wraps together is I can't do some of the videos that I wanted to do because it's hard to run my personal computer, which is a video editing machine, but also a power hog, as I've talked about before. So, kind of dead in the water as far as doing a lot of the fun stuff that I want to do right now, but I also wanted to get this out so that we actually could continue the conversation and somewhat treating it as, let's call it a more personal vlog that fills in for my kind of lack of talking to some of my friends and family back home. So hopefully everyone can benefit from little nuggets that I have here and there, but mostly it's just kind of a personal update on my life and how things are going. So a couple improvements that I'm gonna really badly video around the room. Did get some spice racks and those type of things to handle the kind of growing amount, and there's one back here too, handle the growing amount of things that I'm trying to flavor, some of the foods that I'm trying to keep a little more healthy. I started the plan with doing a just canned spinach, canned chickpea kind of sog Indian dish, and had to get some curry for that. Looking to get a better curry because it's just kind of a generic curry. It doesn't flavor really well, but then started accumulating as I added a chili recipe, all of that. I had to kind of find a place to better organize them because my countertop was just getting chaotic. I do have plans for that, of going through some of the recipes and stuff that I'm doing right now. As I record this video, I don't have a cooler. Haven't had a refrigeration since I came out to Quartzsite either trip. So I've been getting mostly by on making recipes with canned things, dried things, and that type of thing. And I'm making some discoveries of things that work really well for that, and would love to share some of those with everybody in case I'm coming up with something that's just slightly different than how you do something and gives you better ideas of how to improve the way you stay healthy out on the road. So I am diabetic, which that plays a fair amount into what I do, so pastas get dicey for me. I do some pasta, do some potatoes, do rice when I get desperate, and I love rice. So desperate or weak and have rice. But for the most part, try to stay in the veg and low carb type of side of things. So a lot of my recipes tend to reflect that, though one of my best morning time rituals has been I found a dried seaweed that I got shipped to me through Amazon, and combining that with a miso paste has really been a good way to start my breakfast and day without adding a whole lot of carbs for my breakfast. And because of no refrigeration, I don't have any eggs, meat, any of that stuff that's easily available. On that note, and yet I will still do a video on all of those findings, I actually have a smaller fridge shipped that's going to get here Friday. So by the time the next video comes out, I'll probably have some things to say about that. So some of the other brief life updates: because of the generator fail, I'm back to using my car, which, sorry, I'm glancing over that direction because that's where the cord runs out to my car, which again, bad picture. Let's see if that comes through that all. do appreciate that solution. From all of my research, seems to be not massively harmful to the engine, as long as it's not overheating. But as we get warmer in Arizona and just long periods of time, heat is a consideration for wearing it, because that solution is just literally hooked to the battery, running the truck engine and powering approximately to 4 to. I'm finding the effect. It's a 750 watt inverter, but I'm finding the effective rate with the heat and the age of the inverter is about 350 watts is all I can do, which makes it really tight for charging things that I need for my overnight CPAP use and for work use during the day. One other addition to my current setup that I'm really loving a lot, and I'm not able to use right now because of power considerations, is actually this back here. And I will reposition this a little so you can see that better. So I've got a floating monitor on a stand, and don't mind this is because it reflects and ticks me off when I'm looking at the monitor. But the monitor here floats right next to my workstation. So the monitor floats here, and then my work setup just hangs out on a folding table right here. And the nice thing about this is that when I'm working, I can have it wherever I position it here, and then when I'm not working, it can either be pushed all the way forward in front of the door and out of the way, or all the way forward at night, or another time that I'm not using it, pushed up almost against this window back here and totally out of the way. So those are the two major updates in my life. On the minus side of those updates is that now that I've got the office set up inside the taxa, I'm actually spending less time out in the camp tent and missing out on the scenery. So I'm still balancing that out. But for work, especially as I'm working right now with a limited power, this setup is really nice and really working well. Being all kind of compact and tied and a little less power use, as some of the connections are out on the camp tent. The other thing I'd love to share about just my personal experience being here in Quartzsite over the longer time period that I have this season. Roughly, I did a slight stint in December, and then let's call it late January to now, which is roughly in the beginning of March. The one aspect that Quartzsite doesn't do easily, or at least I haven't explored it enough to find it easy, is receiving packages and receiving UPS, that type of thing. Especially UPS and FedEx. And the only way I solved this was literally going into Yuma, and I think there is a site in Parker as well, which is slightly closer than Yuma. There's more resources extra to the city in Yuma, so if I need something, it's easier to just make the extra time investment, go to Yuma and take care of it there. So what I'm getting at with that is the ability to receive packages in Quartzsite itself, which is about 2 miles away, is one or two places that charge for receiving packages, and typically they've said in the Facebook communications that I've seen are fairly busy and fairly hard to use. At the beginning of this day, I was piling up my nice to haves that I would normally ship back to my home base and pick up, and some of them I could foresee them being really nice to have on this trip. And then my work computer broke, so I had to have a location that I could FedEx a package and have it secure. So going to Yuma, I actually got a UPS store mailbox, which then allows you to send anything there as an actual mail, drop as a mail, typical treats it like an apartment. You literally get a street address, an suite number, or a mailbox number, and then all packages, mail, everything flows very easily to that. And then they just send you text messages or however you want them to communicate with you, and they let you know that it's arrived. So even packages like, I got a new folding mattress for my bedding, and I'm getting the Honda generator and my new fridge, all shipped to that UPS store. So it's a little bit spendy, but it's still under probably $30-40 a month, I think, and that's might be even be cheaper if you're staying longer than I am. I got it for 3 months, which is their shortest period. But it just allows me so much more freedom to receive things from Amazon that I would normally have to wait till I get back to my home base. So the experiment was necessitated by my computer failure for my work computer, and I just had to solve that problem. And I'm finding it to be a really nice solution. And on the internal life scope, I'm having a lot of good, positive thoughts along the same lines that I talked about last time in the last video that I did, in that I've been doing a lot of deep thinking and kind of processing a lot of things, and processing through some of the exercises and thought that I'm talking through with the coach that I have. I can't give enough credit to either therapy or coaching as an extra source of input into somebody's life, especially if you're out solo. I mean, I'm not sponsored by anybody I'm going to talk about. I'm not connected in any way. I just really a huge supporter of therapy and now coaching. I've been in therapy for years off and on, just for various things of kind of tuning up my thought processes and make sure I'm not going farther out of bounds than I normally would. I have a fairly small circle, and obviously spend a lot of time now out traveling alone. So at some point you almost have to have a bounce board or be social out in the world. I'm trying to get better at being social out in the world, but at the moment, therapy, coaching, and staying connected with the friends and family back near my home base are kind of my ways of processing things. So the coach that I have right now, I found actually through a friend. I originally sought her out as a coach for developing some of my writing, creative work, and as most things in my life tend to get deeper than that, and finding her quite an interesting source of inspiration for me to lead me farther into thought processes than I think I would push myself. It's not therapy, it is more on the coaching side of trying to guide the goals that I have, but I don't know if you can do that type of an endeavor without some therapy creeping in. And she's also very insightful about that. So link in the description just to her site if you are interested in picking it up, or if this inspires you to just even check it out. She's not a licensed therapist, so I'm not trying to say seek her out as a therapist. I'm saying if you are stuck in life and need something to get you past that, she's an excellent person to do that with. And she does do telehealth. That's obviously, I'm in Arizona, she's back where she is, so she's got a very good system for doing it over the interwebs. Again, not trying to have a commercial for her, just saying she's been very helpful to me, and if you're at that stuck place, maybe she can help you if she's the right type of fit for you. But some of the exercises that I've talked through with that coach and processed on my own are leading me a lot deeper into kind of examining the bigger questions of what, why, and what I'm setting out to accomplish creatively and in life. And it should be interesting to see where we go in the near future with that. The reason I set out with the current coach is nowhere near where I'm ending up, but nonetheless it's been very, very useful in kind of solidifying some of my thought processes and deepening my understanding of both how I live in the world and kind of how I'm working within myself. More on that probably as part of this entire journey on the YouTube channel, because I actually don't think this is going to be a traditional YouTube channel or a van life channel, RV life channel, as much as it will have some of that content, because that's how I live. But I'd like to steer it more into that conversation of why we're existing on the planet and why we're traveling, or why I'm traveling, and what I get out of that, and what other life lessons we can share with each other to see where we end up, so to speak. Yeah, I think that's all I've got for the moment. I apologize about the kind of randomness of this video, but hopefully gives you an insight into where I'm at and what my state is at the moment. That's interesting and inspiring in some way, or is enjoyable to listen to a person who's way older than he thinks he is ramble about life and everything or whatever. Anyways, hope you're well. I will talk to you later. Bye.